Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. The final 53-man active roster is finished. There were some surprises on the roster. I definitely want to talk about that in this video. We'll also talk about the practice squad and also John Lynch as a GM. And I think he's had an excellent draft class so far. Now let's get it. Niner Empire. I was surprised with the amount of quarterbacks we kept on the 53-man active roster throughout Shanahan's tenure with the 49ers. He's always had 3 quarterbacks, so this was a little surprising that Shanahan decided to keep just Jimmy G and Trey. Obviously, Jimmy G is going to be the starter, at least for week 1, but it does make sense in that you don't want to have all 3 quarterbacks in the same QB room, because if one player gets COVID in the QB room, then all 3 players could be out, kind of like what happened in Denver last year. So that makes sense that we have 1 quarterback on the practice squad and 2 quarterbacks on the active roster. The running back room for the 49ers is just filthy. There's just a lot of talent. You start off with Mostert. We drafted Sermon. We have Jermichael Hasty. Jeff Wilson Jr., don't forget about Jeff Wilson Jr. He's on IR. He should be back in the middle of the year, but he will be back. Also, we have Elijah Mitchell. And unfortunately, we had Wayne Gallman, but there was just so much talent in the running back room that we had to actually cut Wayne Gallman. That was disappointing. I wanted to keep Wayne Gallman, but even with Wayne Gallman not on the active roster, this offense and this running back room is still very talented. And I think that's going to be the focal point of the offense in the season. My question about the wide receivers was, how many wide receivers was Shanahan going to keep? We already know we have the IU show. We got Debo. Mohamed Sanu looks good. Trent Sherfield came out of nowhere. He was just a special teams player with the Arizona Cardinals. He looks to be able to contribute on the offensive side of the ball for the 49ers. We also have Jawan Jennings, who's had a pretty good camp. And, of course, Jalen Hurd. I'm not going to lie, I was surprised that we kept Jalen Hurd. I don't know if he's done enough to earn a roster spot. But, he is, one of Shanahan's guys. He's a third-round pick. That's high. That's a high draft pick. And the 49ers want to see, what Jalen Hurd has. They're going to give Jalen Hurd every chance he can get in order to prove that, he can be a dependable player. And I'm looking forward to Jalen Hurd proving that. I know some people don't like it. Some people are for it. But hopefully Jalen Hurd can contribute this season. With the tight end room, the 49ers did bring other tight ends during camp. Michael Pruitt, Jordan Matthews. But I think it was pretty clear that Kittle obviously is the best tight end in the NFL. He's going to make the roster. Charlie Warner, and then also Ross Dwelly. Those are the 3 tight ends who make up the tight end roster. And they only kept 3, and I think that's sufficient. And I'm looking forward to see this group dominate in the running game and also help Jimmy G out in the passing game. The offensive line. Games are won and lost in the trenches. And I think the Niners did an excellent job with accumulating offensive line talent in the offseason. First, by keeping the big silverback Trent Williams, also signing center Alex Mack. And then also we're bringing back Lincoln Tomlinson, Brunskill at the right guard, and McGlinchey at the right tackle. Those are your starting 5. And then we also added depth, Jalen Moore, Tom Compton, which, he's okay, but, he knows Shanahan's system, and Shanahan clearly trusts him. So I think the offensive line is pretty good, and you just got to hope that we can stay healthy. Brunskill, he's not great, but he is a veteran. He knows Shanahan's offense, and I think he's solid. And also, of course, we drafted Aaron Banks, second round. Unfortunately, he's hurt right now due to a shoulder injury. But I think this is a good group and a good collection of talent with the offensive line. 11? The 49ers have decided to keep 11 defensive linemen. I mean, that's incredible. That tells you the amount of talent that's on the defensive line. And shout out to John Lynch for just adding more talent to the defense, because games are won and lost in the trenches, and we have to get after the quarterback, and we have to have multiple people who can do that. We know Nick Bosa and Dee Ford are coming off major injuries. They're not going to be able to play 100% of the snaps once the season starts. So that's why, John Lynch added, Samson from the LA Rams, Arden Key, Maurice Hurst, Zach Kerr. We still have DJ Jones, Javon Kinlaw, Kentavious Street, Kevin Givens. They will be the reason why, games are won and lost for the 49ers. If we can get after the quarterback, make that quarterback feel uncomfortable in the pocket, I think there'll be a lot of Niner wins on this schedule, that's for sure. In regards to the linebackers, faithful, we know Fred Warner and Drake Greenlaw are the best linebackers in the group. There's also Azeez Al-Shahir, Flanagan Fowles, and also newly converted safety to linebacker Marcel Harris. I think that's a good group of linebackers. Marcel Harris is intriguing because he is probably faster than the average linebacker. He's definitely not afraid to hit, and I'm looking forward to seeing him on the defensive side of the ball. I imagine he will probably be on special teams a lot, but he could back up Greenlaw or Fred Warner for spurts at a time. So I like this linebacking core. The 49ers decided to keep 4 safeties. Of course, we have one of the most underrated players in the NFL in Jimmy Ward manning the safety position. We also have, who came from out of nowhere, Tavon Wilson, another free agent signed by John Lynch, Tavon Wilson took all the first team reps at the safety position opposite of Jimmy Ward. He's looked to be a projected starter. Jaquiski Tart, who we thought he was going to be injured for the first 6 weeks of the season with a turf toe injury. He's come back recently and looks like he's going to add depth to that safety room. And of course, we can't leave without talking about Talanoa Hufanga, another 5th round pick by John Lynch. I don't know what it is about the 5th round, but John Lynch does an excellent job in finding players in the 5th round. And Talanoa Hufanga, I think he'll be great on special teams. And it'll be interesting to see how many snaps he gets on the defensive side of the ball in the regular season. But Talanoa Hufanga, his instincts are upper echelon for sure. He's not afraid to hit, and that's always a great asset on the defensive side of the ball. One player I wish we would have kept was Clinton Dix. He's a crafty veteran safety. He's seen it all. He's played at the highest level in the NFL. I just wish we would have given Clinton Dix an opportunity to make the team. I wish he would have made the 53-man active roster. Who would I have taken out? Honestly, probably Jaquiski Tart. I'm not sure if Jaquiski can be healthy, especially with that turf toe injury. It would suck to see Jaquiski Tart go because he's one of the longest tenured 49ers on the team, along with Jimmy Ward. I think Jimmy Ward was drafted a year before Jaquiski. But I really like what HaHa brings to the team. I think HaHa is still a free agent. Hopefully we can sign him to our practice squad. But I just think HaHa's a playmaker. And I'm surprised he was available when we signed him. But that's definitely one player that's disappointing that we did not re-sign was HaHa Clinton Dix. The 49ers decided to keep 6 cornerbacks. And going back to last season, the 49ers only had 1 cornerback signed through this season. And John Lynch did an excellent job in re-signing Kayvon Williams, Emmanuel Mosley, Jason Verrett. He also added an influx of talent to that cornerback room in the draft by drafting Demorde Lenore, Devontae Harris as well. So I think that's a good cornerback group, and I'm looking forward to see a repeat performance from Jason Verrett, who had a Pro Bowl season last year. And hopefully all 3 of our cornerbacks can stay healthy. I think that would bode well for this defense. And I'm excited about the new young corners we have in Lenore and Ambry Thomas. I'm looking forward to see what they can do once the real games start. Shout out to John Lynch. He did an excellent job in this year's draft, addressing several needs on the team. Obviously, we start at quarterback with drafting Trey Lance, the future franchise quarterback of this team. In the running back room, Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell, they should do well. I expect Trey Sermon to have as many or maybe even more carries than Raheem Mostert, the projected starter. And Elijah Mitchell, I think he will make more of an impact in special teams, but maybe he could be punt return, kick return, a gunner on punt return, and also on kick return. I think he could help in that area, especially with the departure of Richie James. Elijah Mitchell has elite speed, and that can be used in a variety of ways on the football team. Let's see. As far as rookies on the offensive line, we drafted Jalen Moore, another 5th-round product. Also drafted Aaron Banks in the second round. They will provide depth along that offensive line. And in the secondary, we definitely need to add an influx of youth, and we did that with Talanoa Hufanga, safety out of USC. Also, Demordy Lenore and a corner, and then also Ambry Thomas at corner. So Lynch did an excellent job, addressed several areas among the team, and I think he did an excellent job with that. And I just got to give a shout out, huge thanks to John Lynch. He did an excellent job in free agency and draft. And in regards to the 49ers practice squad, the 49ers have 13 players currently on the practice squad. Let's start off with defensive lineman Alex Barrett, wide receiver Travis Benjamin, wide receiver River Craycraft, defensive lineman Darian Daniels, offensive lineman Alfredo Gutierrez, fullback Josh Hokett, offensive lineman Corbin Kafuzi, offensive lineman Senio Clemente, tight end Jordan Matthews, safety Jared Maiden, offensive lineman Colton McKivitz, quarterback Nate Sudfield, and linebacker Elijah Sullivan. So I think that rounds out a good list of players on the practice squad. And basically these players can practice with the 49ers. They cannot suit up on game day unless they're added to the active roster, but they can still practice with the team and still develop their skills. And I think this is definitely great for offensive lineman Alfredo Gutierrez. He is a part of the International Pathway Player Program that the NFL has, which takes international players who have played the game, but now they can actually join an NFL team and learn, at the highest level. And Alfredo can still, perfect his craft as an offensive lineman. He can be on a NFL workout plan, which will definitely help him in his development. And I think this is great for Alfredo, and I'm definitely rooting for him. And hopefully he continues to, progress in his skills as an offensive lineman. He will not be able to participate in any games unless he's moved to the active roster. But, at least he can, be around the team, practice, get better in every facet. And, hopefully he can be a future, NFL football player, whether it's for the Niners or another team. So definitely rooting for Alfredo Gutierrez and all the rest of the players on the practice squad. And I think that pretty much concludes this video. And thanks for watching your boy, Jay in the Bay. And I'll see you guys in the next one.